Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans and viewers of RPG Limit Break. My name is Devious RNG, and I am joined here in the booth by Hate the 13th. Hate, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good this evening. Looking forward to seeing how this thing rolls out and plays out for us tonight.
Sweet. Yeah, I am too. This is actually, it's crazy to think that we're already in the semifinals of the co-op tournament for this year. Tonight we have a race against or between Crescent Lake Party Planners, which is Danny3883 and Spellzap, versus Clever Team Name, Dark Moon EX, and Sonny Wrath 11. And I'm here looking at our brackets, and I gotta say, both of these teams have had to fight to get to the semifinal. Crescent Lake Party Planners ended up facing Papa John's in the second round, which was, I believe, Thunder and Papa Ducks, which is not a team to be trifled with, and Crescent Lake took that 2-1. Clever Team Name went 2-1 in every single one of their matchups so far. So they've been fighting tooth and nail to get to the semifinal race. They know what it's like to race when it counts, and I'm very excited to see what we have here for the run today.
Yeah, very much so. As somebody who was commentating on, well, two of the three races the Crescent Lake Party Planners had with Papa John's, they put up some good fights all around. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of these, because I've seen both these teams throughout a lot of this tournament, and they have done amazing work.
Yeah. Let's get this out of the way. Just at the beginning, we're probably going to say this again, but let's draw your attention to that green dot in the top right corner of the screen. That is because of our co-op system. Essentially, all of our key items are shared between teammates, so you'll see some red text potentially at the top of the screen with our servers pushing key items between party members. So they're in chat talking to each other. They're also sharing key items with one another, and that is how they're going to get through this game. And it looks like we are off to the races with Temple of Fiends in Canaria Castle. So, hey, why don't you explain why Temple of Fiends was in Canaria Castle?
So one of the more interesting flags that we have in the randomizer is the floor and entrance shuffle, where we take all of the entrances from all the different places, including the towns in this instance, shake them all up, and then just pour them out. And everything except Corneria Town has been randomized. Additionally, each different floor you go to is not gonna be it's not gonna be sequential. You're gonna go from like an entrance that takes you to Volcano 3rd floor, and that's gonna take you to Ice 2nd. It'll take you to Sea, and just these horrible messes that are beautiful.
Exactly. So it's going to take if you're new to Final Fantasy Randomizer, this might be a little bit confusing for you. We'll try to help you out along the way. Feel free to ask questions in chat. That's part of what we're here for. But I did notice that we already found our shop item, which was the Oxy Ale at about 4,000. Black Magic had both Ice 3 and Fast. And White Magic was not very good, though there is the hidden value found in Harm 4. We'll get to that in a little bit, but we do have Spellzap and Dark Moon both diving in to try to defeat Garland, to rescue Princess Sarah for a potential key item later off in the game. And it looks like Danny and Sonny Wrath are checking those boxes to see if there's any key items in those boxes there.
Yeah, not just key items, but just value, because at the beginning of these games, it's all about trying to get something to, well, help you survive.
Yeah. The definitely the first couple minutes are very tense when it comes to floor and entrance shuffle in general, but more specifically the flags that we have here today, which, if you've been tracking with us, the scaling is going to be very high. We have like 2 to 3 times the health for all of our bosses, and above vanilla scaling for a lot of our fiends and our enemies. So this is going to be a very difficult start for our runners, even though that Ice 3 is really going to help early game.
Yeah, and well, we found that or Darkmoon has found one of the other lovely things in these flags. Some of the floors are reversed.
Yeah.
Kind of love it.
Yeah, I think it seems like such a small thing, but when you've been playing this game and you've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of seeds, and then all of a sudden your floors are in the other direction, that it's such a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, and after you've played enough with reversed floors, you start losing the ability to tell which ones are reversed and which ones aren't. Like, you'll walk onto a vanilla floor and go, I don't remember my way through this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it looks like we have I like Crescent Lake seems to be doing some shopping. We have Sani over here, which I believe is the Temple of Fiends entrance, but that led to the Ice Cave. Checking out some of these trap tiles. It's a nice way to get some early experience, but we don't have a lot. We have this Ice 3, but we're still really not in a position to feel confident in like being able to take down a large number of enemies.
Yeah, that early Ice 3, that's a great boon, but that's not gonna be everything. Like,
Well, especially when you're going to the Ice Cave, you know, ice versus ice is
yeah,
not really the best thing in the world.
not so useful generally. And yeah, it looks like Darkmoon did find a Katana +1 hiding in that first chest in the Ice Cave, which is strange, given that it looks like everyone took the same party. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, we when we rolled this seed, one of the things that we have here is you have 2 open characters and 1 forced character, and the forced character for this particular seed happens to be a white mage.
Yeah, it's not great if you don't have an early ruse or a, ruse you can find, or life 2 or cure 4. Really any of the actual useful spells, which it looks like the closest thing we've got to a useful spell is Harm 4, which is only situationally useful.
Yeah. Well, though, True, but depending on the situation, it can be fantastic. I mean, like if you end up finding an area that has like ghosts or geists or some weird undead enemy, it ends up being super useful. Granted, it only works against undead enemies, which is kind of rare. But when it happens, it's so nice.
Wow, and it looks like, well, we saw the Adamant pop out of Earth 4, as well as a Ruse Stick, and I think we may have also seen the tail come out of there, which means we've got at least one of those 3 loose items already found.
Yeah, we hadn't quite talking. We hadn't quite talking about it. We didn't really talk about it yet, but we did. We do have 3 loose items here in this particular flag set. We do have a number of incentivized dungeons that have a loose key item, which can be kind of confusing, specifically because, like, especially if you're in this situation, the Earth Cave, and you get the Adamant, you don't know if that Adamant is a loose or is actually the incentive item for the Earth Cave. And so Spellzap just picked up, it looks like the crystal from Ice Cave, and even though Ice is incentivized, we're still not sure if that is the incentive item for that dungeon or if that's just one of our 3 loose items. So you might see our runners start picking up extra boxes even after they find that first key item.
Yeah, and thankfully enough, all of the treasure chests that you'll find in Ice Cave are all on that floater loop, so he was able to clear that all out in one go. And it looks like Danny just found a bottle floating about in Volcano Armory, which that is definitively a loose item, because Volcano is not incentivized. man, and it looks like Marsh actually leads to the Marsh split, strangely enough. That's
Yeah, that's not
disappointingly
fun.
vanilla. Yeah, no, I like to see my Marsh split, at least when I'm commentating. I like to see the Marsh split roll like 4 levels down and then lead to the C split.
Yeah.
Because I'm evil.
Yeah, it is one of those it is one of those things that you kind of want to get out of the way early. There's like you said, there's nothing worse as a runner than like diving 8 or 10 floors down only to end up finding that there is like C split that then leads into some horrible like the sky maze or something like that. And it then if you end up wiping on the way down, things just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse the further down in that dungeon you go.
Ooh, though Darkmoon actually finding a ribbon that was hiding in Marsh middle floor. That's, good luck out of that. It's ribbon -1, but a ribbon's a ribbon.
Hey, a ribbon's a ribbon. You'll take it.
Yep, very much so.
And if you're feeling confused by where all of the runners are at the moment, you are not alone. Our runners are in so many different locations, and like we said, so many of them are not in their vanilla positions that it can be a little bit hard to keep track of where people are going, especially at the very beginning. So it looks like we have found Onrak somewhere, wherever Darkmoon is. Sani is checking out the Volcano Armory, which I can't remember where that is.
Volcano Armory was at Provoca, and I believe
Provoca?
it leads to the Q block.
Yeah. So as we're as we're working through this, we'll try to do the best we can to keep track of what's going on. But this moment here is very hectic and chaotic. It's not just hectic and chaotic for you as the runners, or sorry, for us as the viewers, but it's also for the runners. Typically what you're going to do, there are, about 10 locations on the Inner Sea that you can visit right at the beginning of the game. You've got Canaria Castle, Temple of Fiends, Matoya, Dwarves, Provoca, Elfland, Elfland Castle, Marsh, and Northwest Castle. So what you try to do is separate out the different regions for each runner. One runner will take the top, the other runner will take kind of those bottom entrances, and you're going to do the best you can to try to figure out what is at the end of that location and convey that information to your partner. The big things that we're looking for right now is really actually, we're looking for a lot of things right now. We have those 3 loose key items, which that's part of why you're seeing our runners check all of these treasure chests in the Volcano Armory, in case one of those boxes happens to have another loose key item. You're seeing our runners looking for fiends. You're seeing our runners looking for towns, specifically Provoca and Elfland, because those are very, those are your low-level spell casts, which are absolutely valuable to our runners.
Yeah, and it looks like Darkmoon was at Marsh Bottom when he found Onrak and the Onrak dungeon, and Marsh Top just leads to Gaia. Well, that's actually a rather kind Marsh Cave. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
That level 7 nuke.
Yeah, level 7 nuke and level 7 Invis 2. For those of you newer to the game, Nuke is the best black magic spell, and it could be at any spell casting level. And to see it at level 7 is not what you want to see. And let's look at Spellzap screen, because Spellzap has found our first fiend of the day, which is the Lich. And you'll notice just above and to the right of Lich, you might see another yellow character standing above them. And the reason for that is we have characters gated by fiends, which means if you want to, after defeating this fiend, Spellzap has the option of replacing one of his characters with the character that's behind Lich, which I believe was a black wizard, if I could see correctly, which would be an absolutely invaluable addition to his party.
Yeah, I have no idea what it was. I couldn't quite tell. To me, it looked a little bit more like a white wizard, but well, I couldn't really see too well. But hey,
It had,
looks like
hey,
got him.
he got him, and it's got robes, and we'll probably find out in a second whatever Dang happened to be. You're not going to show us, are you, Spellzap?
No, of course not.
Well,
That'd be convenient.
Exactly. We'll find out in a little bit.
I think I saw a flash of white, but yep, white wizard. All right.
Oh, where did we find a canoe? I see a Clever Team Name has the canoe on their server, and I have no idea.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay Scheidel, for checking that one out, because I didn't even see him turn the herb in.
So it looks like the herb turn in, which I believe Elflin Castle was at the Matoya entrance, and so that herb turn in leads to the canoe, and the canoe opens up essentially all of the rest of the map. One of the things, if you're newer to Final Fantasy Randomizer, not only do we have extra docks up north, but our devs have created additional docks and overworld changes to get to both Lefane and Gaia as soon as you get the canoe. So really, with the canoe, I want to say the entire game is open except for a couple Cardia Isles. So that's a huge pickup for Clever Team Name.
Yeah, everything is open to them now except for those 4 Cardia Islands that, well, have no docks. Because there's a dock on the 5th one.
I was going to say, because there is a dock somewhere, and it looks like Danny has found Bahamut, which she's resetting out. Why is she resetting out of Bahamut?
Because she's still really low level, and Bahamut would turn them into a pile of paste.
Why is that? Oh!
Yeah, we have the Fight Bahamut flag turned on, as well as the Buffed Bahamut flag, which means Bahamut has about the stats of Tiamat 1. But if you can kill him, or when you kill him, you get about half an EXPs, or you get half an EXP of Warmech. Or half a Warmech of EXP, I should say. I don't know, phrasing is weird.
Yeah, talking is hard. Especially when you're tracking a Florin Entrance co-op while doing commentary. So again, big thanks to Jay Scheidel, who's restreaming for us and also trying to help us with tracking, and for you, chat, and your help with trying to keep track of what's going on. So let's kind of like settle down a little bit now with what's happening on screen. Our runners are starting to separate out a little bit. We've essentially seen everything that's happening on the Inner Sea, and now we're starting to expand outwards to, like, Danny's over in Melmond. Clever Team Name is just about to leave the Inner Sea as well. And that's where you're going to start seeing more of this strategy. You'll notice that Sani Wrath 11 is actually heading over towards Crescent Lake as opposed to going towards the Melmond area where Danny is. So Clever Team Name is kind of pushing Sani Wrath to the opposite side of the world, probably because Darkmoon is just going to leave from where he is right now and start checking the Melmond Titans in Earth Cave. So how our runners start separating out this overworld is going to be really some of those things that determine which of our teams end up finding the edge in this run.
Yeah, and it's a good idea that Sani Wrath just grabbed that speedboat. Love the speedboat, best boat, and just zipped around the world to get over to Crescent Lake, because that way he can hit up the volcano entrance, he can get the ice cave entrance, and see where those take him.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like, one of the weird things is you see a lot of different our runners checking boxes. Bottle leading, okay, so Bottle leads to the herb, and we're just figuring that out, or Spellzap is just figuring that out. And so Spellzap is then going to take that herb likely up to Matoya, and that's where he's going to get his canoe. Which kind of makes sense, I guess, why Danny is at Melmond and Sonny decided to take his trip over to the Crescent Lake area, because with the canoe, Sonny can get to Crescent Lake and all of those other locations, whereas Danny probably wouldn't be able to make that trip quite as quickly.
Yeah, at this point, short of the Melmond area, the only other place that Danny can really get to would be the Cardia Double Stop, or Double Island. Oh, and it looks like Danny has found Kraken hiding in Melmond.
Yeah, that's another great pickup. Okay. Spellzap did find the Lich, and by Danny being able to find Kraken in Melmond, that's going to be a nice little, again, pickup for Crescent Lake party planners. Part of the reason for that is because every orb is a 100% increase in experience and gold. So for every orb that our runners pick up, it is a massive experience boost.
Yeah, it's a thing of beauty. It is an absolute thing of beauty. Oh, and hey, it looks like Sonny Wrath has found C-Split into ice, and C-Split went directly to Melmond on the right side. And yeah, distracted by shiny things like, hey, there's a new town.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that, if you're like, what on earth is happening? One of the things that you'll notice is Melmond is not destroyed. That's a new flag that was brought in by our fantastic devs who are doing some crazy stuff right now. But we have a flag where the vampire destroys a random town. So in this particular run, Melmond has an item shop and a place to revive your characters. And I didn't realize this. There was an Oxyale in that shop, which means it's just copying the Crescent Lake shop, which I've never seen that before.
Yep, I've seen
But that's good to know.
Yeah, I've seen that once or twice before. I'm not sure if it copies just a random town, but every time that I've had the vendor item be in Corneria, it's also been in Melmond if Melmond wasn't wrecked. Now, we've seen a lot of the other towns, though, and we haven't seen anything wrecked yet, so Provoca, Lefane, or Elfland suffered the vampire's wrath instead.
Cool. Now, if I'm one of these runners, one of the things on the forefront of my mind is spells. We're still pretty low level. That Ice 3 is fantastic to have at level 1. Problem being, we don't have level 2, 3, or 4 spells, and it takes a long time to get enough levels to be able to cast some of these level 5 and 6 spells that our runners are picking up. So the two things that you're desperately wanting, or the two towns you're desperately wanting to see, are Provoca and Elfland, partially because they are going to have kind of your lower level spells, but also because Provoca is going to have another key item for you, which, again, key items are always something our runners want to look for.
Yeah, especially since, the incentive item could be, the ribbon, which, yeah, they found a couple of them already, which this seed looks to be pretty lucky with respect to that. Could be a Vorpal sword, which, if it actually rolled up, might not actually be, entire trash.
So you're an anti-Vorpaler? You're gonna get me started. Vorpal is a fantastic weapon in the right conditions.
Yeah, in the right conditions. Those conditions being it not rolling down. Like a Vorpal -5? Oh, hell no.
Yeah. No, that I can definitely agree with. Absolutely. Katana is greater than Vorpal all day. Yes, that is an absolute fact.
Yes, that
Katana is absolutely a fact. Now, if you said massa greater than Vorpal all day, that'll argue with you about.
It depends upon if you're looking for spiky damage or steady damage. The spiky damage might be a little bit higher, but it's a little more inconsistent.
See, now you're speaking my language. Spiky damage versus normal damage. Did Crescent Lake get their canoe yet? Because I'm seeing Danny take the long way over to Crescent Lake, which makes me feel like that they never turned in that herb to pick up their canoe.
I don't recall seeing either of them going up to Matoya, so I don't believe they have. And Darkmoon has found the Dragon Helm.
Yeah, that's at the Dwarf Cave entrance, which, like, as you said, that is going to be a interesting thing for our runners to keep in the back of their mind. Number one, because yes, Bahamut is going to fight you. It is a boss battle in order to promote. But the other thing is that our black belts are actually listed at +3, +4. Typically in the vanilla game, you do not want to promote a black belt because your MDef growth actually decreases when you go from black belt to master. However, with these flags, it actually increases your MDef growth. So if you're used to the typical Final Fantasy randomizer, in this particular flag set, it's actually better to promote for your black belts.
Yeah, honestly, with this flag set, the best thing you can do, honestly, is find a master hiding behind a fiend, because then it's been Master Sense level 1 and gets that 4 growth all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, Spellzap has found the adamant in the tail and that rouge stick. That's a beautiful, beautiful room to find.
Yeah, that room is fantastic.
And it looks like Crescent Lake turned into a pile of garbage. It was a dead end.
Yep. But Sani finding a cube from the robot, which is a nice pickup because we did find cube locked at the Provoca entrance. So now it's really a question of, hey, are you going to go check that, see where cube lock goes, or is that something that you're going to save off for later on in the game?
Yeah. It also could be a 1, 2, 3, not it. I don't want to check
that. Yeah, I could absolutely see that happening.
Wow, also finding some Opal +3 armor for the non-existent knights. Meaning it's a pile of cash.
Yeah. Well, but again, it's a pile of cash right now, unless you find a knight hidden behind one of our fiends. And to note, Sonirath just found the rod at Sky 2. So I know we found a Sky item already, so it looks like we might have all of our loose items now. We found
the bottle at Volcano, we found the tail and the adamant in the same room at Earth, so one of those was loose, and we have found the loot in Mirage 2, and the thing that he just found there, which I've already forgotten because I apparently have the memory of a goldfish tonight.
Yeah, it's not like it's multitask, man, multitask. But no, this is, like, again, it's these tiny little things. So, like, this can be a drastic change in the game. Now that I don't know if Clever Team Name is aware of where all of the key items are, but if they recognize that they have all of the loose key items, then that means that Sani isn't going to have to use up all of this time to check all of these boxes. It looks like Danny is about to find that rod as well. So we'll see if there's a difference between what Crescent Lake Party Planners and Clever Team Name are doing in terms of once they figure out how many loose items there are and which loose items, or like what happens when they realize they have all of the loose items already. Those are the words I wanted.
Yeah. And it looks like Spellzap has decided to go and check the Cardia lock, or not Cardia lock, but the Toph locked boxes. But I didn't see him pick a key up. Did you?
I don't think so. But the reason that you can do that is I believe we do have the the thief lockpick flag, which is yet another flag that has come out within the last couple weeks or months, where once your thief gets to level 10, your thief can open rooms that are locked. Ooh, which is great if you have a thief, but you have to bring a thief. And I said, ooh, because I see Danny and Sonny in Elfland, which is a massive pickup for both of our teams.
Yeah, seriously, Elfland is like you walk into it in a floor and entry or into these flags, and like you can hear the angels sing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason for that is because Elfland has 2 of our magic levels, level 3 and level 4, and especially in the randomizer, you have a much higher probability of finding spells that are really important late game spells. Like we see Warp and Temper here at level 4, we saw Exit at level 3. All of those are very important for specifically Floor and Entrance Shuffle, but especially late game, that Temper is absolutely a must-have spell before diving into the end game dungeon.
Yeah, and judging by the quantities of heals that have been purchased by everybody who's been here, I'm wondering if they weren't for sale in Corneria or if they were just hidden. Because, yeah, there's sometimes where it's like, okay, there's no heals for sale in any of the towns we found, and
yeah, that is not fun.
Yeah, no.
But we did find that on rack is Canaria Castle, which is a great pickup, not only because the King and Sarah both have key items, but also because you have those key lock chests, which I think key locked is incentivized. I can't remember.
No, it's not.
It's
right
not.
now.
Okay.
No.
I've been doing Fall League flags with co-op flags, and I get all of those mixed up sometimes. But it's still a good pickup.
Oof. Yeah, no, I don't envy you that.
No, I don't envy it either. So I saw the ruby we got from either the King or Sarah, but I don't remember what the second key item was. Ruby was Sarah, and the crown. Okay, thank you very much, chat. You guys rock.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons we rely on chat sometimes, because you've got more eyes than us.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
King was brown. All right. Ooh, I like this. Spellzap is on his way to the Vanilla Ordeals location, which is a oft-forgotten location to check. So I'm excited to see. Ooh, that C-split.
Yeah.
We've been here before, haven't we?
Yeah, I thought this was ice earlier, but I got the coloration wrong. It's ice has that gray, on Ordeals has that same gray, and I just get confused.
Yeah, it's not like there's 4 runners doing an entrance and floor shuffle for you to watch. So Ordeals has this C-split. I believe we've seen what's happening on each side here, but we'll try to track where Spellzap's going.
Yeah, I know that we got Melmond on the right, but I do not remember what's on the left, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on him.
Cool.
Where is clever team name? Oh wait, that's not a fighter. That's Astos he's beaten on. So Sonny found Northwest Castle somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and again, Northwest Castle is nice because you have those extra trap tiles, which are important for that end game, for those end game levels. Like I said, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but we do have some very beefy bosses. I believe with the current settings, it's like 250 to 350, 250% to 350% of their vanilla HP, which means they are going to have a ton of health and they're going to do a ton of damage. So you definitely want to have in the back of your mind some sort of trap tile to go to build some of those end game levels.
Yeah, I have not seen anybody get through this without doing at least some kind of a grind yet.
Yeah. Especially if you're trying to get through it with like this particular party, like Thief Double White Black, which is not going to be a party that deals out a ton of damage. You're going to want to be up in that mid-30s, maybe even early 40s range before trying to dive Topher.
Yeah. Thief Double White Black, speed and power, it ain't.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and it
was northwest.
Yep, and it looks like Astos was just holding on to an X-Cal +3. Which, you know, if there's a knight somewhere, once again, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
For the fiends, not so much for chaos.
Well, and again, this is an interesting thing about co-op because, you know, we're looking right here and we have, you know, this Whiz Mummy tile, like the sorcerers is actually a very good trap tile to get some early levels. Problem being that our XP is low. When we only have one orblet, it's going to take a much longer time to build up that experience to get some extra levels than if you try to get a second or third orblet before doing that exact same grind. So both of our teams have one orblet. They both found Lich. Both of our teams know where Kraken is, but neither team has tried to face Kraken, probably because they haven't had Bane or Brack, which are the two spells you typically want if you have a low-level team going against Kraken.
Yeah, Brack and a Prayer, or Bane and Pray. And looks like Spellzap found the mermaid somewhere and has robbed them dutifully. And also carbonated bubbles, so seems valid.
Yeah, I was gonna say I believe it's the Gaia entrance where Spellzap found mermaids, which is typically something that you want to see. Problem being there was nothing really fantastic there, so it's a little bit of a letdown. But that is again a brand new flag within the last couple weeks, where even without the airship you can get to Gaia by having the canoe, and there's been a little pathway carved out of the mountains to get up to Gaia, and even down here to Lefane. And so we'll get an early peek here at Lefane from Spellzap, who's found Ordeals.
All right, well that's a good find because it's you know that it's only going to be the one floor.
Exactly. I mean, so again, now we're starting to settle out a couple things. Our teams have covered pretty much the same amount of ground. Yes, Gaia is mermaids. But there was nothing really fantastic in Gaia, unfortunately, for our two teams. I'm curious to see what Spellzap finds here, because, like I said, we've picked up most of our locations. I don't see Chime, which is required to get into Mirage.
Oh.
I don't see our floater, which is required to get into the other Cardia Isles. So those are really the two big items we're looking for.
So Dark Moon checked the Marshlock chests and found Whizvamp Zombie Ds and sandwiches.
He found sandwiches.
I
did not see that he found some sandwiches.
Yep.
That's it. Was that a tile or was that a locked box?
That was the tile because we do not have trapped boxes on right now.
Again, I'm getting confused with Fall League. But yeah, so sandwiches are the sandworms, which are typically found in desert tiles. In the randomizer, they typically have very low HP, very low absorb, and give a ton of experience, but not as much as that T-Rex that Sonny just found, and he wisely ran away because he is not at a level where he can take down a T-Rex at this moment.
Yeah, he's at a point where the blue stake looks at him and goes, "Your food."
Yes, exactly.
Spellzap. Oh, that's an ugly tile that Spellzap found. Unrunnable
Yeah.
Argoyles.
Yeah, I have to say, Argoyles is probably one of my least favorite enemies in the entire game. So that's the one enemy in Ordeals that I kind of just despise every time I go there. Let's take a look at Danny. Danny is our first runner to head up to Ice Cave, and since this is our first look at it, and it is the Sharknado floor. Sharknado, named after the fact that you can get Sharks and Waters on this particular floor. It's got a lot of boxes, and
Twilight Party Pack. Time for that Harm 4 to put in some work.
I told you! Harm 4 is gonna do stuff, and it's gonna do it now! I see Lord Fizzlebeef in chat, and every time I see Harm 4 now, I think of Lord Fizzlebeef. This is where Harm 4 pays off. This is where that Harm 4 stick is paying off. And hopefully Danny's going to get a ton of experience from this particular tile.
All right, and Spellzap finding the chime in Ordeals. Oh boy, and another A4 stick to sell, because nobody's going to want that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Danny wisely walking out and saving those levels, because it hurts to lose levels like that.
Yeah. She's smart, though. She brought 10 houses with her. So if she wants to, she can spend a little bit of time on that tile. But again, we're running into that issue of we need to kill more feats. With 100% experience buff, Lamp Axe.
Axe of Lampening.
With 100% experience... Sorry. Dark Moon has found the floater. I don't know where he is, but Dark Moon has found the floater from Sarda, and that has the potential to change a lot of things.
Behind
it's the cube locked location.
Oh my. So that's Provoca.
Wow. That's big. Now, the reason that that's a big find is because that has been available for the last 20 minutes or so. Both teams have had that for a very long time. The fact that Dark Moon was the first one to check that location is definitely going to give them an edge, because now they're in the air, which makes travel time faster, and it allows for picking up some of those extra entrances. However, Spellzap did just find Carrie.
Yeah, I was just going to say on that one. I was going to let you finish, and then, yeah. And it looks like, I can't tell, might be a ninja back there, which would be a... I couldn't tell if it was a ninja or a knight, but it looked kind of beefy.
Yeah, I love ninjas.
Oh
Ninjas
my God,
are
yes.
by far my favorite class.
Especially with the buffs they've gotten this flag set.
Oh yeah.
Plus 100 agility they have right out the gate. Oh.
It's so good.
Dodge tank my time.
Well, and we already have like 4 katana plus 1s.
Yeah, I know, right?
So that's gonna give a huge leg up. Ooh, I really like these mute casts coming out by Spellzap. Carrie is weak to these status effects, and so if that mute can come out, that's definitely gonna protect against any like nasty ugliness she might have.
Yeah, and
hidden behind.
Looks like she got some evasion stacks on that thief as well, who is now doing that dodge thing. Down it goes.
Down it goes.
The Spellzap go double thief, white, red. Oh.
Well, they do have the tail, so I mean there is room to say like, hey, that tail could in fact lead to I mean that could give you a double ninja. Just saying.
Yeah, except he replaced his thief.
I know.
It just makes for sads.
On paper, that's probably the right move, but you know, one can only dream.
Well, even you've got fast and temper within levels 1 through 4. There's no reason to not take 2 ninjas, especially if you got all those katanas.
Yeah, I mean, typically I'm thinking about a 3-man party. Typically I'm thinking about a 3-man party. So the fact that you would keep up as Fizzle's pointing out in chat, keeping up 2 white mages instead of 2 ninjas is kind of an interesting pick. And what's the particular spell, or what's the white mage bringing that the ninja can't bring? And I think that's a really good question.
Yeah, and also just had to point this out. We had about at the 4240 mark, we had the first bridge boss encounter.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of love it, and you kind of hate to see it at the same time.
Dark Moon has found Crescent Lake. Considering that Dark Moon is our only runner in the air, I'm assuming that's one of our Cardia tiles.
It doesn't look like it's got the right colors for a Cardia, though. It's got that kind of sickly green color to it.
Well, that could be Cardia Swamp. Never know.
Even Cardia Swamp actually normally has like a kind of bluish tint, but yeah, I don't know. I could be misremembering entirely.
Oh, okay, there we go. Brack at level 6. Brack is a nice pickup, particularly because we know where Kraken is, and Brack is able to crack Kraken in one shot. We'll see if Dark Moon heads directly over to Kraken to see if he can take him out.
Yeah, and Lord Fizz will be pointing out that that kind of color looks like it might be Sarda's cave, actually.
Y'all in your colors. I
just noticed some things, like that pretty purple color. That I can generally, recognize. Aw, how cute. They gave them a key.
So clever team name getting their key, Crescent Lake Party Planners getting their floater.
Knowing how early the floater was available, you have to wonder if Crescent Lake Party Planners are a little offset right now.
Yeah. Well, and like Dark Moon just found Provoke as well. How?
With Life 2 and Fade.
How did he rename it to Holy?
He is using the Fun % flag, which is friendly team names, or friendly spell names.
Oh! That's awesome. I love it. Again, new things happening all the time.
Yep.
And Saber's a really nice pickup at level 2 for a ninja.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can pick up Saber at level 2 with that ninja, which is going to give a substantial attack bonus that's stackable, which is absolutely just chef's kiss for endgame.
Oh yeah. You get those dodges up, a couple of ruse stacks on him, and you fast him, and then you just start throwing some tempers and sabers out, and then you watch him swing, hit 6 times, and do 3,000 damage.
Yeah. So, Fizzle asking if we've seen Kraken or Tia. We have seen Kraken. Kraken is at the Melmond entrance. We have not seen Tia yet. We do know that apparently Bicky's giving us the TNT, so the only actual key item that's still loose is the slab. But I don't believe we have anything of value we're really waiting for. I think, is the Vorpal incentivized in this?
Yes, it is.
I'm again mixing up Fall League. But if Vorpal's incentivized, then that slab's going to lead to a Vorpal, and I highly doubt either of our team's going to want to do that.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, especially since no one knows where LaFane is. Looks like Sonny Reth has found the Agama floor somewhere.
Ooh, and a ribbon.
Nice.
Which, Jay Shido, again, our restreamer helping us out with tracking as well. Super thankful to him. Pointing out that Clever Team Name is still opening boxes, whereas, even though they're in go mode, and the question you always have to ask is, what are they looking for? If you're going to be opening boxes, you got to be looking for something, and what is the thing you are looking for?
Yeah, and how many ribbons have they already found? I mean, that's, you got to know that you've got enough.
Yeah,
right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and it looks like Ice was a strikeout, and well, Dark Moon found Carrie and went in to get something, and then got taken out. And Sonny Wrath found Matoya and got the rock.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Rosetta Stone for him, and a Bane staff hiding in Matoya's closet.
That Bane staff would have been a great pickup like an hour ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, if you have that Bane stick before picking up Carrie, then Kraken or Tia, that's a great pickup.
Yep. All right, let's see. It looks like Dark Moon is going the fast, temper, and stacking Invis on the thief route.
Mm-hmm. I think that's absolutely the right play.
Yeah. All right, Danny is about to check Titans West and see what level of disappointment is there. Oh, wait. No, that's not disappointment.
No, that's Provoca.
That is entirely the opposite of disappointment.
Yeah, and Provoca's pretty stacked right now with its with its spells at the moment. And it looks like Dark Moon is in exactly the same situation that Spell Zap or Danny was earlier, with a fully evade capped thief just unloading on Carrie.
Yep. Now let's see if Dark Moon actually goes with the double ninja, or if he replaces his thief. I'm very confused.
I'm sad.
Yeah. I'm sad and I'm confused, and I just don't know, man. I just don't know.
You know, it's like that pause was definitely Dark Moon and Sonny talking about that ninja and whether or not they should pick up a double ninja or if they should have a different type of party. I am curious why both teams made that decision. Clever Team name makes more sense because they knew where Fade and Life 2 were. And now Clever Team name has found Tia. They found their fourth fiend, and that means they are roaring towards the end here. It's now just a matter of where are you gonna grind and going from there.
Yeah, and I can't tell if that's a Mario or Luigi sprite, which means it's either a knight or a master.
Well, we'll leave that to Sonny to be able to determine which of his sprites are which class.
Yeah, like I know which one is which class. I just couldn't tell if it was Mario or Luigi.
I got you. Well, I don't know which one's which class, so I'm gonna stand over here and
Mario is his knight, Luigi is what he uses for the black belt.
Gotcha.
And I think it's kind of appropriate that he has Yoshi as the thief.
Yeah, well, it looks like Spellzap has also found Tia, so it looks like Clever Team name has maybe like 30 or 40 seconds of advantage never mind, that's a reset.
Yeah. Had.
Yeah. We'll see if Spellzap has better luck with the Bane cast than Sonny did.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, Spellzap has that ninja, which can at least, swing one of those katanas they found, and yeah. Oh, he also does the dragon sword. Thank you, Crab Cakes, because I saw people pick that up, but I just did not make note of it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're not going to see our robot chicken overlord on the bridge tonight, because he's out on patrol. He's just wandering around in the maze. Which kind of makes me sad.
Well, Spellzap has found his way up to Tiamat and is doing a little bit of prep, moving the Bane sword around, trying to make sure he's in a good place to deal a little bit of damage. And, okay, so throwing Lock 2, Invis, Bane, and Brack.
Yeah, and...
oh, no, Fast.
And just from the view I got on Spellzap's side, it looks like I was wrong on both counts with respect to Sonny Wrath. That's Toad, which is a red wizard.
A little bit different.
Yeah, just a titch.
A little bit different.
Just a wee bit. Darkmoon picking up the tail again, but you know, also going in there and grabbing that ruse staff. Ugh.
Yeah, well, it looks like Sonny reset out from his Bridge of Destiny. It looks like Spellzap's not having a ton of luck here. Throwing out some locks, but still not doing a ton of damage. Blizzard is not something you want to see unless you have some really high MDef or some ribbons. Trying to temper and invis that ninja. Problem being...
Okay. That's good, though. He's hitting 4 hits for 450 now. I think that he's going pretty good now.
True, but we still have 250% scaling, so this Tia has at least 2,500 hit points, which is a big number. It's not a tiny number.
Yeah. Oh, and Tia goes, you know what? If I hit you, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh, only 3 hits for 330. Hopefully, Tia's not got too much left behind this. It looks like Sonny was able to catch back up and is probably going back to the same Bane strats as before, not getting any more luck than the previous time, and looks like he's doubling down.
It looks like Spellzap is still making some damage onto that Tia, though. It's, you know, not as fast as one would like, but, you know, do what you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially since Tia just doesn't want to take a whiff of that rag. Just keep waving at her face.
Yeah.
And no, I won't play Will That Smell... I'm not going to play Does This Rag Smell Like Chloroform?
Oh, and finally, Spellzap seeing Poison Smoke after dealing almost enough damage to put him down. And that's orb number 3 for Crescent Lake Party Planners.
And they know where Kraken is. I'm wondering if one of them is going to be making their way to, you know, try and poison a Kraken next.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Spellzap is making his way directly to Melmond, which is where Kraken is living. Meanwhile, Sonny... Oh, never mind. There we go. Sonny Wrath taking down with a Poison Smoke. We have both teams with 3 orbs lit, and now we're getting to the strategy part. Both of our teams are very underleveled. Both of our teams have 3 orbs lit and going for orb number 4, and now it's the ultimate question. What level do you need before diving Topher?
Yeah, and do either of the teams go in and check the stat bats? Because those stat bats can help determine, hey, do I need to go high or low?
Yeah, I'm kind of new to the stat bats. One of our more recent runs that Dead Pulse and I did, he checked the stat bats before, or the stat bats, yes, before diving. And for those of you, can you explain them for those of our viewers and commentators who don't fully know what the stat bats are?
Yeah, so the stat bats are, once again, another improvement by our wonderful devs. Normally, when you talk to the bats in Temple of Fiends, you know, if you've got all 4 orbs lit, they'll just tell you their history. When you have the bat hints on, depending upon the level you've got them set at, you will get information about the fiends. Like how much hit points they've got in a star rating in this instance from 1 to 10. What their attack stat is, what their hit stat is, what their defense is, what their evasion is, and if they have any major spells or skills of note, like Crack, or Nuke, or Nuclear, or Cure 4. And yeah, they can be quite useful. Like finding out that, hey, the Chaos I've got to fight has 10 stars of hit points, 8 stars of evasion, 7 stars of defense, Nuke and Crack and Cure 4, just as an example. And knowing at that point that you're going to want to get locked, you're going to want to get fast, you're going to want to make sure you can temper hard, and you're going to want to make sure you have at least one person who's got a ribbon.
Yeah, Gloomchew pointing out what I was curious about. Spellzap gave up his White Wizard for his master. I'm thinking that that was probably an oopsie. Or though I was gonna say the one thing I can think about is whether or not they had more levels, but I think that's moot in this particular flag set. Yeah, so maybe we'll ask him about it when this race finishes up.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, as Lord Fizzlebeak pointed out in chat, it's probably because the White Mage has been with him from the start and had all the spells, whereas the White Wizard probably didn't.
That makes sense. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
All right, it looks like Crescent Lake Party Planners is going to beat up a bunch of Twilight fans, and Clever Team Name is going to go for some sandwiches.
Yeah, which is, what's kind of interesting about this, though, is that Marsh Bottom also has the whatever you call it, Twilight Party Pack.
Well, no, Marsh Bottom has the Whizvamp Zombie Ds.
Oh, the Whizvamp Zombie Ds, right. So, two different places in two different types of tiles in two different locations. These are the kinds of things that can really make the difference in a co-op. So, I see level 18 for Dark Moon, 24 for Danny.
Yeah, this is
18 for Sonny.
This is going to be an interesting one because the XP is so much more variable on the Twilight Party Pack, but it has the potential to go a little bit higher. Whereas the Sandworms, you're going to get 1 or 2, and pretty much that's it.
Yeah. So the one thing I'm noticing is that the Crescent Lake is getting a lot more experience for each fight. It's just each fight is taking a lot longer than what's happening with Clever Team Name. I think Danny had a nice head start in terms of grinding, but the fact that Spells app is starting to catch up with levels in the early 20s, whereas Clever Team Name is still in the low 20s. It'll be interesting how this goes.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that Danny is still 3-man grinding, so she doesn't have an extra person putting out a little bit extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, looks like might be out of level 1 spells for that White Mage. I don't know, I couldn't see, but she's not casting anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's not quite out of them yet, but she's looking pretty low there.
Yeah, well, and now it gets to an interesting aspect of these co-op flags, which is, are you satisfied with your party? Like you said, Danny has 3 light warriors compared to 4 from everybody else, and I believe that nuns are gaining experience as well as dead characters. So having a 3-man party versus a 4-man party actually does not bring her any benefit.
Yeah, at this point, it's having that nun. It's just a hole draining XP away.
Well, I mean, I guess you could argue that nun is still gaining experience. So if she doesn't feel like she's ready to take down Kraken, but knows that that's the fiend that she wants to kill, she could be trying to gain levels to make that fight faster. But at the same time, it could affect how long this grind takes. Again, these are those tiny nuanced questions, and I feel like as a team, you kind of have to just decide what you're gonna do and fully commit to it. Like, there's no, oh, maybe we'll try this and do this, or maybe I'll go and do this. I don't know. I just feel like this is what you like. You have to commit to whatever you're doing, and go.
Yeah, do not hesitate. Just make your commitment and just go. Just punch things, go hard and fast.
Yeah. And Dark Moon is leaving.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he is going to go swap out somebody for that master.
Because I assume that they have all 4 orbs lit, because I saw them fighting Kraken.
Yeah, and
but you're right.
has the master, so yeah, they're going to be. I think that Darkman's going to go pick up that master and probably drop one of the white mage. Yeah.
Yeah. I see. I like this, and again, I think it's a question for Crescent Lake party planners in terms of what does Danny want as character 4, and is Danny going to take the time to get that 4th character? I mean, she also has the option of just promoting, which we have a Bahamut that's pretty low, like pretty low entrance Bahamut. So she could just promote and take that thief as a ninja. But again, now you have 3 light warriors as opposed to 4, and how is that going to play in with your strategy?
Yeah, honestly, I would be very surprised if Danny doesn't go pick up that master. Based off of what I've seen from her past few matches, she does tend to like to have the, mega kill damage from a master.
Right.
And honestly, I can't blame her.
Yeah. As someone regularly says, speed and power, and there's not much more speed and power than a high-level black mage. Though it's weird for this AoE. Bane is not going to work against undead. That's probably a missed input.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the reset on Dark Moon's side because he lost this big damage dealer from Kraken back rowing.
Ooh.
So he's smart to reset out and try this again.
Yeah, Kraken 1, getting some practice in for how it's going to go with Kraken 2, where he's back rowing people. Though I'm surprised because it was the damage dealer, it wasn't a life caster.
Yeah, it looks like Sonny has switched over to the Whizvamp Zombie D tile, and I wonder how much of a difference this change is going to make in terms of his grind.
Yeah, I don't know, but those Whizvamps cast slow, and that's an annoying thing to see coming out of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, especially if you have these Fade and Harm 4 casts, it's not the end of the world. But it's definitely not something that you want to see coming out a lot. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, Cremate and Frost on the both of them. That's not pleasant to see either.
But he got an early attack or an ambush on them, which I don't think that Crescent Lake has been getting ambushes on their setup. I kind of like this for Sonny. I think it's going to increase the experience output, and as long as you have the healing to stay alive, 12,000 experience is not a small number. It's definitely more risky, and that's the thing you got to worry about. It's definitely more risky. And blink and you miss it. I guess Dark Moon just was able to take out Kraken with a insta-kill spell, and now he's got all 4 of his party members up.
Yeah, and now he's heading somewhere. Ooh. And Jay Shadell pointing out that poor Zap on Danny's team got rubbed out of existence.
Yeah.
Which means that cure force, or that heal force, harm 4 stick. It's one of those spells with a 4 in it.
Yeah, interesting decision here. We're seeing Dark Moon go up and promote, and I'm wondering if there is nuke, or we have fast at level 1, we have temper at level 4. I wouldn't care about nuke. Like, not for, like, I don't feel like I would do this just for the sake of nuke.
Maybe he's doing it for the XP as well. And, he could be doing it for Lock 2 because Lock 2 was slot 3 at level 6.
That's a little bit more incentivizing. I will say that we did find a Lock 2 bonk somewhere. I don't know if Clever Team Name got it, but ooh, dang, 20,000 experience. That's a lot of experience.
Great, googly moogly.
Yeah, I don't know about. He's heading to Marsh.
I don't know. Maybe he was. Crab Cakes pointed out that Lock 2 slot is actually learnable by Black Mage. So yeah. I don't know. Maybe he was just killing Bahamut for a change of pace a little bit.
Yeah, well, it looks like, I mean, he's heading, if I if I wrote my tracking correctly, it looks like he's heading up towards Gaia, which has Nuke at level 7. So, I mean, maybe it is the Nuke cast. Knowing that he has Double Dragon as the final boss might be incentivizing him to try to get some extra damage output before heading into Temple of Fiends. The one thing I will give Clever Team Name at the moment, it looks like they have a discussion. They've had a discussion about what they want their end game to look like, and they are moving ahead with that plan. They've obviously talked about the idea of promotion. They've talked about getting Nuke, and now they're executing on that plan. And I'm feeling like at this point, he's got to be thinking Topher.
Yeah, I just saw Sonny hit level 33, and not sure what level Dark Moon's at right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sonny does have that Lock 2 Ankh. We did get Invis 2 on the White Mage at level 7 in Gaia as well, so that might have been incentivizing. It looks like Dark Moon is going back for some levels. Jay Shadell, our tracker, pointing out, or our restreamer and helping with tracking, pointing out that we have Dark Moon's around level 27, so I like this idea of going back and regrinding for him specifically.
Yeah. And it looks like Danny is on her way to get some promotion going on, and wonder if she's going to go pick up somebody afterwards as well.
Yeah, I mean, for Danny, promotion is almost a no-brainer with that thief.
Oh my god. Zap just hit 41.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. Yeah, which means Danny is probably about that same level.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, she's got to be pretty close to that.
Yeah, based off of the hit points, her thief had 650 hit points. Yeah, she's at least 42. Mm-hmm. So she's probably going to go pick up that master, and then they're just going to stomp through Topher. Because,
Yeah, I mean, yep, there he is. That's level 42 for Spell Zap, which I believe, for those of you who don't know, give your black belt 10 hits for every single one of their attacks. And so that black belt is going to almost be able to one-shot every single fiend in the Temple of Fiends.
Well, probably two-shot him at this point because of the scaling.
Yeah. Though, I mean, Dark Moon is at level 29. Spell Zap is just flying around. I don't know exactly where he's going.
I don't know. Maybe spells? But Danny has gotten all grown up now.
Let's try to figure this out. Double top cardio is Elfland. So maybe let's look.
Yeah,
3 and 4.
Spells
yeah,
for
getting
the ninja.
temper for that. Getting temper for that ninja probably.
Yeah. Because there's Danny getting the fast.
Yeah,
Checking
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the preparation. I mean, preparation is so important. What is? Maybe there's a ribbon or something here that oh, katana.
She's like, oh hey, there's a gimme katana here. Got it.
Yep, that is some good planning and some good communication between those teammates there to get that katana +1 in a very easy location.
Yeah, that was seriously a gimme location. Yeah, and here goes Danny going down to kill herself a Kraken.
Yeah. I feel like she made the decision. I could go and try to kill Kraken before my big grind and get 4 people, or I can do my grind and be able to 1 or 2 shot Kraken easily. I'm gonna just finish my grind, go just obliterate Kraken, and then do my Topher dive. So this makes sense. I don't like. this probably is going to be faster than having a difficult Kraken fight, but it's definitely slower than having a really quick Kraken fight.
Oh my goodness. So I didn't see all of the stuff on Chaos. I saw, I think, max hit points and maybe max evade. And I couldn't see the spells.
I saw a nuke at the bottom of whatever the first thing he looked at was.
Okay, so that's got a nuke, and then Tia also had a nuke. So yeah, this is gonna be a radioactive Topher.
Mm-hmm. And that's at 1 hour 13 minutes. We have our first Topher dive, and this and validating the run with another Katana +1. And another Lamp Axe! Oh god, Lamp Axe OP. Come on now. And
the only thing I didn't see Spellzap do was kill the Hooray Dwarf, or Hooray the Hooray Dwarf, either one, whichever he's got it set for. Other than that, he did all the good validation memes. That makes me happy.
Do you know what I would love? I think, I can't remember if it's these flags or the Fall League flags, but one of our flag sets has improved Cure, Lamp, and other things, which means that Lamp would actually cure Stun, and I would love it if one of our runners got stun touched and had to use the Lamp Axe to like save their entire party from destruction. That would make my day. I'm getting excited about it. I really want someone to get stun touched now and have the Lamp Axe be the savior of the game.
That would be a thing of beauty, because yes, that flag is on for this.
Yes! Mental note for my next run: make sure you have Lamp.
Yeah, I mean, in some of the practices that I'd done for these before I got eliminated, I will admit I picked up Lamp and I used it a couple of times.
See, that's being resourceful. I like it. Now, I will note, that's 2 very big punches on Lich, and Lich ate both of them. Lich was, I want to say, upwards of 2,000 hit points.
Yeah, that is a chunky carpet.
Mm-hmm. So there's no blink and you miss it. Even with a 42 black belt, Lich able to take those beatings. That gives you just a little bit of an idea of what these flags are giving us. 5 hits for 5 damage. Again, level 42 is what we're looking at here. 10 hits for 800, which is good. It would easily take out carry at vanilla, but we're looking at 2.5 to 3.5 times what vanilla is.
Yeah.
Which gives these fiends the opportunity to really do some damage.
Yeah, 10 hits, 747, and that's actually after the fast landed this time. So carry's a little bit evasive, it seems.
Yeah, I was gonna say this third hit should definitely do it, but now it's where the rubber meets the road. We've got this Kraken 2 floor, and bad things can happen.
Be on an absolute hero run, though. Holy crap! And I say something, and of course it comes to an end.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah,
way
well,
to
you
go.
know.
And Danny3883 is now in Topher herself. 1 hour 16 minutes. Probably, I didn't see what level she was at, but probably upwards at the 42.
42 or 43
mark.
Yeah, one of those two.
And so let's take a look at what this Kraken 2 has. 4 hits for over 1,000, but Kraken punching back with 500 damage on that ninja. 5 hits for 800 against Kraken. A miss from that ninja means that Kraken has quite a bit of evade. Going for that white mage which would be disastrous if you're going to lose your one life caster. We're going to have to see how this ends up. There it goes. Kraken 2 is terminated, but that punch to that white maid has to get you a little bit nervous.
Well, and I noticed that the couple of rounds previous to that, Spellzap had actually been casting Ruse on the white mage.
Mm-hmm.
So he was preparing for Kraken 2 to do Kraken 2 things.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting nerve-wracking, especially because if what we saw in the bats is correct, Tia could prove to be an even bigger problem here for Spellzap. Throwing out the damage poison didn't do much. Only 4 hits for 700 damage by that black belt. Again, T is going to have 2,500 to 2,500 to 3,500 HP, something like that. So this is going to be a very chunky and evasive Tiamat.
Yep, and we've got Sonya Wrath on Clever Team Names side, hitting the Earth floor now, and creeping up on Danny right now.
Oof, and there's the nuke that comes out that takes out Spellzap's Black Mage. Fortunately, the White Mage is still up, and it looks like Spellzap is going to make his way to Chaos, as Danny is on Carry's floor, Sonny is about to hit Lich, and Darkmoon is finishing up his grind.
I'm surprised that those worms haven't started running away yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I guess it's turn order. But for our viewers, once you hit a certain level, those sandwiches or those sandworms tend to run away as their first turn, and that's not good if you're using them for a grind.
All right, and at 118, 119-ish, going to be 119 probably. Yep, 118.59. We see the double dragons coming on. All right, we've got temper going out. We've got some invis casts or ruse casts. What you doing? Looks like ruse. Fast, and then just punching a thing. 8 hits, 553 on Carry. Ruse coming out. Lit 2 coming out from Carry, doing some chip damage. Not much there. Temper from the Black Mage, or from the Ninja to the Black Belt, and then damage poison from Kraken again. Tia, the other one. And it looks like using that Ninja just as a buff bot for that Master. Oof,
yeah, I like the idea of doubling down on that Master. I mean, you don't want to let that that Ninja die, but the Master is definitely the one that's going to be doing your damage dealing here.
Yeah. Oh, hey, and the Lock 2 bonk coming out. 15 hits, 28-19. Jeez, beasties. Down goes Kraken, or Carry. Too many things that start with K.
Yeah, well, and again, like, this is the Carry and the Tia that you found that you fought on the way down here. So, jeez, another 2,000 damage.
Yeah, 11 hits, 28-45. Nuclear coming out, wrecking the party, but yeah, that's what Cure 4 is for.
Yeah, and I think with, I was going to say, with the 2,000 damage that Spellzap's been doing, he takes down Chaos, or the Double Dragons, pretty quickly. And yes, let's get a single G out in chat for Spellzap, our first runner to finish this seed, and the first runner of the Crescent Lake Party Planners to finish. Again, we have Darkmoon coming up here on the Lich floor. Danny is heading towards Tia 2, and we have Sonya Wrath 11 is diving into the Kraken floor, and we'll have to see where our runners end up here.
Yeah, this is going to be a close one here.
Yeah, and for those of you who are watching our co-op for the first time, it is the last runner to finish is what we use for the final time. There is no average between the two runners, so it's whichever team has both runners finish, that is the team that wins. So we do have Ruse coming out on the White Mage, Damage Poison coming out against Danny 3883, 5 hits for 500, 5 hits for another 5-8. We're doing a good amount of damage, though Tia does have Nuke, Nuclear, and Swirl. There's a lot of ugly things that can come out of Tiamat, so we have to be careful and make sure we're keeping up our hit points above that 400 threshold. Lit 2 is not going to do a lot to this party. Still going to put out a ton of damage with that Ninja and that Master. Probably 3 hits for 300 is not what you want to see, but that's good enough for the Master, who's going to take down that Tiamat. And Danny 3883 is going to be on her way to the Chaos floor, as Sonya Wrath is finishing up Kraken 2, and Darkmoon EX is on his way to Carry 2.
Yeah, and it looked like we actually saw Lich actually do a thing and Bane, Darkmoon's Black Wizard. I mean, it's not like it really mattered in the long run because it was Lich 2, and yeah, it was thick, but it still got crushed.
Yeah, and that's one of those things you have to watch out for. I mean, as great as ribbons are, there's a limited amount of them, and if you don't have the ribbon on the right people, a zap comes out or a bane comes out, and that could quickly take out one of your main characters, and that's definitely not something you want to see in this flag set.
Yeah, or you get 3 and 256 and lose 2 of your people wearing ribbons to a zap or a bane.
Yeah. All right, so we do have Danny coming up here to her double dragon fight, deciding to do some rusing, a quick swing from that ninja. Carrie starting with Tia just bodying that ninja. Fast coming out. Fade, trying to put out damage, using the speed and power strats, just trying to do as much damage as possible, as fast as possible. That master only doing 4 hits for a couple hundred damage, though. Zoe getting taken out by 800 hit points, 6 hits the black mage. This is not looking good for Danny.
Yeah.
Doing about 1,000 damage, but man, they are just laying into Fizz, and if there's another and Danny 3883 taking a wipe,
but getting right back in there.
Yeah.
Corn, it looks like I just saw that Kraken had Cure 4.
Oh, that's not something.
Yeah, that's an annoying thing to come across.
Oh, especially when you have your master laying down on the floor.
Yeah, I just saw that. Oh boy.
4 hits coming out against that ninja. I don't know how many spells he's saved. Meanwhile, Sonny getting nuked, and that nuke and Lit 2 instantly taking out that black mage. I do like the decision to throw out those lock 2s, though, with how evasive these fiends have been. So we're seeing ruses, lock 2s, and invis 2s coming out from Sonny. That's some good news, but bad news on Darkmoon's side with losing that black wizard.
Yeah, and it looks like Darkmoon's just tossing out those invises to try and keep Kraken from, bodying everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Invis cast on the white mage. I wonder if he's thinking Fade strats.
I think what he's thinking is that the ninja is probably evade capped and he doesn't want to use the invis 2 levels. So it was just like, all right, get the last stack on the white mage and just keep swinging and hoping.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, Sonny still facing both of his final fiends, trying to just put all of the damage into Tiamat, though Tiamat is going to have substantially more hit points than Carrie's going to have. Our black mage is down, so there's no tempers that are coming out. Trying to get up some curing, relying on that black belt. Did I see 6 hits for 56 damage?
Yep. Oof. And then a quad X on the thief just to really bring it down. Oof.
Yeah, so this is really relying on that black mage. 5 hits for 123, just not getting damage out with a level 42 black belt against this fiend.
Yeah, 7 hits, 498, then just returned with an inferno and just, ooh boy.
Well, and maybe through nothing but prayer and hope, Darkmoon EX did make it through that Kraken 2 and is now on Tia 2 as his partner, Sonyrath 11, taking out his Tia, and now just has Carrie, and hopefully this is going to be a very quick end for that Tia. But Danny is already making her way back into the Temple of Fiends, past the loot plate, and we have Crescent Lake party players fast on his heels.
Carrie just landed a slow 2 on that master.
No.
Yeah.
And he's only got 1 hit.
Yep. And he's doing like 35 to 111 is what I've seen for the damage range.
Or 4 to 100. Oof. And that went through. And the quad X landed!
Oh my!
The quad X taking out that black belt. punches coming
my.
from this white wizard. Quad X coming out. Hopefully that white wizard has a ribbon on, doing 2 damage at a time with a hope and a prayer that this might be a crit loop. Oof. Lit 2.
Fired. Yeah, no, this isn't a crit loop. This is a
This is a prayer loop.
Yeah, this is a oh man.
Yeah,
Oh.
another 126. I guess Sonny's just out of spells, I would assume.
I know he's out of fades. I don't know how his status on Cure 4s are, but apparently it's probably pretty bad or null.
Oh, and there goes the white for Sonny.
Wow. Yeah, this is why we have the alternate fiends on there, because that's not something a single chaos could have done.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I find it interesting that Sonny and Danny both went with the strat for taking out the Tiamat first, or at least trying to be very aggressive with damage. And as crazy as it sounds, I mean, Sonny died to the easier fiend because of that slow 2 landing, and probably that slow 2 only landed because he was around long enough to get that deep into the spell list.
Yeah. This was
Yeah. Let's see what Dark Moon's doing. We've got heal pot strats coming out because that white mage is down.
Oh man.
Dang, you couldn't stand for what, like 2 rounds, man? Come on now. I saw you in chat, had to say hi. And thank you, by the way. You're a great co-op partner as well. But we do have going again for those Tiamat strats. Trying to punch Tia down 3 hits for 777. You're doing about 1,000 damage each. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I do believe because these fiends are alternate fiends, I think they get an additional buff of health over top of the health buff that they already got.
Oh my. All right, well, Dark Moon has taken down the Tia, and now let's see if Carrie will actually, get to that slope. Nope, Carrie will not, because down it goes at the 1:30:05 minute mark or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was like 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 5 seconds. About 10 minutes after Spell Zap. But now we have Danny 3883 and Sonny Wrath 11 both on their second dives here.
And Danny's white mage got ripped apart.
That is.
If I were her, I'd be resetting right now.
Yeah, you just reset.
Yeah.
Just reset. It's. Yeah, you have to reset. I mean, is Danny going to be able to take out Tia? Probably. Is Danny going to be able to take out Tia and Carrie at the same time? No.
Yeah. Ooh, and also just a big ol' notice point that the total chests that Dark Moon opened was 39. Keeping those low amount of chests open.
That is an appropriate number.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. 39 in a loose flag set with 3 loose items is a lot. Is not a lot. Like, typically you'd see a lot more than that.
Yeah, I wonder how many Sonny got.
Yeah, I'm very curious on that. I didn't see how many spells Zap had. But again, now we have Danny going in with just a ninja and a master. Both of them at level 42. And my thing is, Tia's gonna have Nuke, Swirl, Inferno. And can that master by itself survive Nuke, Swirl, and Inferno with high evade fiends with about 8,000 hit points between the 2 of them? This is dangerous.
Yeah, this is a real big old risk, man.
Yeah,
All right, well, Zap survived, so she's just going to be shotgunning heal pots here for a minute.
Yeah.
And at least then she'll at least potentially be able to get some buffs up.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, luckily she does have 2 light warriors. That is an advantage. I mean, it's a small one, but it's an advantage nonetheless. We do have the possibility for the ninja to have fast and temper, but it's a question of charges. And as Fizzle and Cece are pointing out, doesn't look like she has any charges. Again, I will say this: there is definitely a chance that this will work if you get your ruses out. Deciding to ribbon up that ninja, and not putting a ton on that black belt. I feel like I'd want a ribbon and put a lot of my defenses on that master. Like, yes, the master is going to have a high resistance, but not to quad X. So it looks like Danny is deciding to push directly towards Tiamat, or Carrie this time instead of Tiamat, focusing on rusing up her master and just letting Zap just eat all of this damage.
Yeah, well, Zap has no spell charges because Danny promoted at level 41, so yeah.
All right, so it looks like she's trying to get Oof, and Nuke comes out, takes out Zap. It's focused on that Tia, though I will say,
oh, down it goes. Quad X'd again. Oh,
and
man.
it happened. The Quad X.
Oh, man.
Ugh. So the only, I think the only, is it Pro Rings and Ribbons that would defend against Quad X?
Pro Rings and Ribbons, yeah.
Yeah, that Quad X. I mean, Quad X is one of my favorite black magic spells of all time. Unfortunately, it works both ways. And that master receiving the brunt of it.
Yeah, that's not a pleasant thing to see.
All right, so now we divert our attention over to Sani Wrath 11, who is on his Tier 2 fight. Looking okay. That black mage looks low, but they're really not that important, especially with the life casts that are coming out. Doing some good tempering. That damage poison's gonna put an end to that black mage. Likely the thief and the master are gonna do what they do. Very smart move to Cure 3 that white mage. You might think that white mage is fine, but Nuke can high roll at 400 damage. And if it happened to high roll, then that white mage is gone. So is your black mage. So is your hope of beating the seed. And there goes Tia 2. Sani's going to take round 2 here against our double dragons.
All right, let's see how this one rolls. Are you going to stop and, res and heal? Yeah, okay,
yeah,
good,
hopefully.
Good. Doesn't look like he picked up any Cure 4s, which is a mite shocking, but,
Mm-hmm.
You do what you do.
And in this break, hi, Karan. Good to see you, man. Yeah, so Danny's on her way down. Sani's doing the prep. We'll see what he does.
Shotgun and heal potions, casting a bunch of cures. All right.
Yeah. I mean, not dying is the most important thing you can do. Checking up, got that ribbon on that thief.
And deciding, you know what? No, I'm just gonna put it on the black.
No, did he just put a ribbon on the master?
Yeah, that master is now got 1 defense.
Now that master has 1 absorb point. Let's hope that it does not get hit by one of these 2 fiends, because that could be the end of that. Oh, and before the fast comes out, that black mage is gone. Or did it get the fast out?
It did get the fast out. Just, nothing else. It got the 1 fast.
Yeah. Invis 2. Oh, and there's the 700 damage!
Oof.
Oof! And that is... Oh, not good. Not good.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh. I'm not saying anything. I don't want to say anything.
Turn order. Oh, my goodness.
Don't speak. Just throw the cures. Throw out a punch.
Out of tier 3s. Oh,
Oh,
boy. Oh my, down goes
he is
Gia.
down somehow. Carrie is still up and swinging. Black Mage fighting. Lit 2 still okay.
Man, I'm surprised he hasn't resorted to heal strats yet, but 20 hits for 11-18.
Now,
Walked down further. Oh, out of heal pots. Oh, man. Ninja dodge taken. Fade for 153. 7 hits, 101. Out of that, 20 hits, 960. And we have a finisher. 138.09. We have Clever Team Name coming in first.
Let's get our GGs out in chat for Clever Team Name. Taking a... Holy cow, what an end. What a final boss fight by Sonny Wrath 11. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Master survived.
That was a match.
Yeah. That. Can you tell that words are escaping me at the moment? And it looks like we are, in fact, joined by our victors today. Clever Team Name, Dark Moon EX, and Sonny Wrath 11. GG's, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, and how are your pants feeling after that?
You know, it's funny you say that, because Sonny was complaining to me since about 15 minutes into the race that he had to go use the restroom.
I literally was, and my stomach was churning during that chaos fight, not because of me flying by the seat of my pants, because that's literally what I was doing.
Well, I love that he had the terrible fight the first time. I wander in there and I'm just like, oh well, whatever, drink strats, it's fine. And then I just get through like it's nothing, and then he's like has another terrible fight the second time. Like, what is this RNG here?
Yeah, I mean, your opponents have a very similar experience. Spellzap finished about 10 minutes before you, Dark Moon, and Danny's just had the worst RNG getting through.
Yeah,
we got the tail end of that once we finished. That was...
Kraken 2 did Kraken 2 things. Oh, man.
Oof. Just oof.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, because after I finished, I saw that second wipe from Danny, and my heart just sank.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this is... Again, it's one of those like RNG does RNG things. You know, we see 4 of our runners, 3 of our 4 runners get through. Sonny having some very difficult 2 runs, and just you can put as much evasion, and you can do as much prep work as you want. Sometimes the game is just not gonna like you. And unfortunately, it looks like the game is not very fond of Danny today. But
yeah,
hopefully,
if those bosses had been any kinder, they would have absolutely spanked us this race. Like,
yeah. I think. So I'm curious how you guys feel about the Double Dragon switch. Did you guys plan any differently for Double Dragon versus Whack-A Chaos, or?
Well, here's the thing on that.
Oh God.
Sounds like y'all forgot to check the flags.
No, we checked the flags.
We checked it.
But
I helped the devs make some of the new alt final bosses that we have, and that overwrote crap in my head. So when we got to Double Dragons, I'm sitting there going, Tiamat 1, Tiamat 2 should be a cakewalk.
Yeah, and that's precisely why I started laughing. And also planning.
Yeah.
We actually didn't really have much time to plan between both of us working.
No. Like,
so
this is literally the first chance we've had to sit down and talk about anything like 15 minutes before we had to be in the room, just because of how schedules line up. So.
Yep. Yeah. And we literally just did this by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, specifically looking at the prep that you guys did. in your level grinds, making the decision to do the promotion, making the decision to then go and pick up that master. What was that discussion like for you guys?
You go first.
So I saw the master after Tia won and immediately told Darkmoon that. And since Tia won was our third orb, it was then go to Kraken, hope to God the Bane Stick connects, which it did pretty quickly at that.
Yeah, you did really well.
And then from there, it was, we knew where the Sandworm tile was. We knew where the Zombie, Dragon, Wizard, Vampire tile was. And it was use those tiles. Now, after hitting, I think it was 28, the Sandworm started running away, which kind of sucked. So we switched over to the Zombie, Dragon, Wizard, Vampire tile, which was tanky as could be.
Yeah, that was awful. That was awful. 2 or 3 rounds to kill that pack. After a while, you saw I just bailed and went back to Sandworms and tried to get turn order because it was just awful.
And that's what the plan became after we got to a point where we were like, no, we're losing time doing this grind.
Yeah. And yeah, no, the reason why I honestly I didn't need to do a class change because I didn't finish certs, and my Black Mage had all the magic he needed for what I had, and I already had a promoted Wizard and a promoted Ninja and a promoted Black Belt. I'm about to sneeze. The only reason I even went for class change was because it was a quick 20 grand that I could get for a level.
Yeah, and,
Bahamut at that point's 20,000. I'm not passing that up.
Yeah, and at this point with that wipe, Danny has officially forfeited because, well, her...
yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, I can't blame her on that one because that's just hurt to see.
Yeah, that Topher was rude.
Yeah.
But
And,
GG's to both of them anyway.
GG's.
Yeah, and Danny has said that she will not be joining us tonight because she has some... she's not feeling so hot. And her partner has to go to bed because he has to get up early in the morning. So get some GGs out for him, give him some love, and mad respect for going through that.
Yeah, I was originally not supposed to even come in for an interview, but I'm kind of amped right
now. I'm sure you are, man.
I think Sonny would agree with me. Like, we knew this is going to be a coin flip for any of these races, and the odds, considering their history together and how long they've been playing, how good they are, I think the odds are at least a little against us getting out of this bracket and actually going on to the next round. CLPP is fantastic.
I mean, I would say they're a little more against us. They're decently against us because of how strong of a team they are, how great their teamwork is.
Yeah.
They have so much more on us than...
So to even get one game off of them isn't I'm super stoked about that. We could lose the next 2, which we might. And at least, I mean, I'll be happy we pulled one off of them. And they're fantastic competitors. So they could have swept this match, and I wouldn't have been surprised. I was like, hey, we can play them. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Challenge right now, and you guys have had, I mean, an uphill run the entire way through. You seeded 11th, and then ended up doing 2-1s against in every single one of your bracket matches, and hey, who knows what's gonna happen here? But man, you guys are tenacious. You're fighting, and I'm wondering if you guys feel like all of those extra matches have really helped you guys come in sync and be able to navigate these flags better.
I would say that they most definitely have, and this match was definitely proof of how much more in sync we are, especially compared to last year's tournament where we made it to the round of 8 and then got bounced by Thunder and Sir Link-a-Lot, if I remember correctly.
Pretty quickly bounced by them. Yeah, that was they swept us there, and it wasn't close. So then, I mean, we've taken some lessons here. I think honestly, I as I put it to Sonny when we played Tryhard Cats last time, and just due to bad luck basically on their part, they got bounced from us, and I was like, wow, we kind of sucked out there. We river ratted that match, and knowing that and realizing how bad some of our games were with them, we just had to re-strategize. So that's why like Thawny immediately booked it to the northern continent as soon as he could. Why he left Earth and that stuff just to me to take care of, and I'm basically the one that found the floater at that point. There was a lot there that was just like, you're here, you're checking these ones, just go do this. You go over here and do this because things happen. And honestly, I think we benefited this time from the fact that the game was so flat this time around. There, like, as far as places we had to go, there just weren't many now. Yeah.
Yeah, because exploration this seed was a breeze compared
Super
to
easy.
the last few that we've played, where I got stuck in a 15-floor tower on one of them.
Yeah, I mean, if we could have found like Gurmaducers or something as a tile, we could have saved 10 minutes because what we lost was just entirely in that awful grind.
Yeah, I feel like both of you, like both teams, started their grind at approximately around the same time.
Yeah.
And you all had like different end game prep that you did. They ended up finding the Whiz-Vamp and Vampire tile in Sharknado. It was that
so it was
very
there too.
first room.
Okay.
So not the Whiz-Vamp Zombie D, the Whiz-Vamp and Vampire.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the actual Twilight.
That would have been okay
Twilight
to fight.
Fan Club.
Yeah, the actual Twilight Fan Club.
Only problem with them is they had like what, glare first turn or something, so they were just popping my guys left and right anytime I saw the vampires. But yeah.
Yeah, they were thick. The Harm 4 sticks and Harm 4 at level 1 were doing work. And it's funny, we started off the broadcast with seeing Harm 4 at level 1 and commenting on how, I mean, it's no, you don't use it except when you have those rare circumstances where it's phenomenal, and this was one of those rare circumstances.
Yeah, because like on either tile, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
With the vampires, you're doing massive amounts of damage to them. With the zombie dragons, you're doing a decent amount of damage to them. It doesn't matter which way you go on that. You're doing damage to them regardless.
Yeah, like, and I mean, I would have loved to have found a Harm 4 stick. If I could have found that, that would have been great. That would have made that grind that we were on so much better. Just slap that on one of my melees, and I would have had that pack down in a turn every time. But man, that was an uphill struggle for that grind.
Yeah, I think there was one somewhere that one of our runners found.
Tawny found it.
I think it was Matoya's cave that I found it.
I know.
Yeah, and I just wasn't going anywhere near there.
I know Matoya was holding on to a Bane staff.
Yeah, she had a Bane stick and a Harm 4 stick.
Okay. Because I remember seeing the Bane stick and thinking, that's just kind of evil for her to have been like, oh yeah, this is my old wand I used for killing masses of people.
In the umbrella stand nearby, it makes sense.
Oh god! All right,
that's fantastic.
Yep.
I've been asking a lot of questions. Hate, do you have any questions before we wrap into final thoughts?
Nah, you pretty much covered the questions I had.
Sweet.
Yeah, I just want to say this was a hell of a match y'all put on. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So either one of you can go. Just personal final thoughts or final thoughts for your team heading into the next match.
Donnie?
I was gonna say you go first, dude. I need a second.
Yeah, you're fine. Well, as I said, like, they're CLPP's fantastic competitors. Whether we win either of the next two or not, I think our odds are slightly better now because we only have to suck out one of the two, which is great. So, I mean, well, it's improved for us. I'd put us at probably a coin flip now about whether we win or not. But, like, win or lose, they're fantastic. And just racing them right now and seeing how close it was with them that they were in before we even were. Like, it just shows the level of competition that we're up against. So I'm super happy to be this far into the tournament. I'm having such a good time with Sonny because like we're really gelling this time. So yeah, it's been great so far, and I look forward to the next two matches or potentially the next 5, depending upon how this goes.
Well said. Yeah, Sonny, you have anything to add?
So I have a bit of history with CLPP. As the very first co-op tournament, I was partnered with Kirito for that, and CLPP was my first set of opponents. So
I am so sorry.
To have taken to have taken a game from them just makes me absolutely ecstatic. It's something that I told them that I wanted to do because this is a rematch for me. And we just did it. So I win or lose the next 2 games, I'm happy. Everybody's play here was just on point. Everybody's teamwork and communication was absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to watch this one back because of how good it was. I do want to thank you guys for doing commentary and Jay Shadell for restreaming and I believe tracking as well. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Tracking was a group effort.
Well, thank you all for tracking. And I look forward to the next 2 games against Danny and Spellzap as the Crescent Lake party planners.
Awesome. Do you guys know when your next match is?
Saturday at the same time as tonight.
Awesome. So for those of you looking to see the next match Saturday at the same time, you can look for Game 2 of Crescent Lake Party Planners versus Clever Team Name. If there is a Game 3, I'm sure we will discuss when that timing is. The other semifinal match between 3 and 256 and New Kids on the Block, those are going to be happening early next week due to scheduling difficulties. I'll just put it that way. So we're trying to schedule for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for those matches. So if you want to, you can catch every single finals match undistracted. So keep an eye out. If you would like to get notified whenever you have a Final Fantasy Randomizer match show up, you can simply go to our Discord, and if you add the spectator role, you will get pinged every time we have a Final Fantasy Randomizer match, whether it's finishing up the co-op tournament or starting up the Fall League, which I believe is kicking off in the middle of September. I want to say September 12th to 14th, something in that range.
It'll be when the actual games start. The reveal stream will be September 10th.
Yeah, and that's going to be a blast. There are some good teams this year.
And we're already up to 12 with, I think, TFID still looking to join, and they just haven't registered yet. So I'm expecting 13 teams, which is 3 more than we had last year, and I think this is already the biggest league we're going to have.
And it's 13 teams of 4. So it's a lot of people, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
We've already got 42 people just in teams.
As I said, this is what the 3rd league we're going to be doing because of OSD from 2 years ago, and then Fall League last year. And I do think this
4th league.
4th,
because the first league that I know of was back in 2018 when I first joined the community.
Wow, see, I don't think there were VODs for that one even. That's sad. Anyway, yes, please come watch, come join the community. Here, let me put on my radio voice. Come to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com, where you can find the links to the Discord and the development Discord, as well as the randomizer itself.
And if I could throw one more plug in here, follow RPG Limit Break so that way you can see more of the action as we come on this channel, because they are awesome for allowing us to be on here.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much, RPG Limit Break.
Yeah, absolutely. Much love. So, hey, do you want to wrap us up here and take us out? And some of us here can get some much needed sleep.
Sure. So, as excuse me, as Darkmoon said, yes, come to our Discord, join us. The community is quite friendly. Sometimes the game isn't, but that's why the community is. And make sure to give our runners a follow. If you enjoyed what you saw here, just go give them a follow, because I personally think they've earned it. And thank you to Jay Scheidel for restreaming for us and for doing most of the tracking tonight. Thank you to my co-commentator. Excuse me. Thank you to my co-commentator. My God, my brain just kind of slipped out of my head. TVS RNG. For keeping me on track tonight when I just was getting distracted by shiny things. And once again, thanks to RPG Limit Break for letting us bogart their channel for so long and for putting up with our shenanigans. And with that, I bid you all adieu and have a good evening.